Well, it's Tuesday, and unlike last week, I am going to give you a top 10 video. And as promised, I'm going to give you my top 10 viewer-defined magic item list. That's right, you all picked what magic items are going to appear in this. So if you want to see what's going on, what the rules are, and how that's all going to work, stay tuned. It is so refreshing for the time being to not talk about Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. What's going on, folks? Ted from Nerd Immersion here. And yeah, I put out a Google form a while back asking you to put in your top 10 magic items. They were completely viewer-defined fields. You could type out whatever you want, put in any magic item that you want. Painstakingly went through all 4,218 different entries that were in here. Dealt with all the typos, misspellings, people writing a novel in the section rather than just writing a magic item. Parsed them all down to give you the top 10. So what happened is I was not taking the rankings of 1 is the best, 10 is the worst. I've compiled them all to see which magic items showed up the most. I've sorted them all from most votes to least number of votes. Again, we have 4,218, so I'll tell you the number of vote count when we get into it. And we're going to go from the bottom, which will be, we've got that 10. And then the least voted will be number 10, and the one that was voted the most will be number 1. So let's dive in. Number 10. The Cloak of Displacement. 46 of you individually voted for Cloak of Displacement on here, putting it at the number 10 spot. Just so you're aware, the number, the number 12 or 11 spot is a tie. So this one did actually win in and of its own merit. So why did I think you guys picked the Cloak of Displacement? Well, first of all, it looks really cool. Who can argue with this sweet displacer beast sort of swoops you have coming off the side of this? And this is just a great magic item. It made its way onto a whole bunch of my top 10 magic item lists for the various different classes. And it's because of what it does. You wear this and it creates an illusory duplicate sort of yourself kind of right near you, so it makes you harder to hit. Enemy creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls against you. That is attack rolls, that's melee attack rolls, range attack rolls, and spell attack rolls. They all have disadvantage. If you take damage, the property ceases to function until the start of your next turn, and it's suppressed while you're incapacitated, restrained, or otherwise unable to move. Really good item. It is attunement. It's from the basic rules, so anybody can have access to this. It's awesome, but the easiest way to get around that is just to hit somebody with an AoE spell that does half damage on a success, and then, okay, they've taken damage, the cloak ceases to function, now the rest of the party, or the rest of the enemy group, can wail on them. Either way, though, one of my favorite magic items, and I've been able to get it on one of my characters that I was able to play in 5th edition, and it was awesome while I had it. Number 9. Portable Hole. A bunch of extra plane or extra dimensional storage spaces are always well appreciated. Everybody seems to love these. Portable Hole is another one that gets a lot of use in different D&D literature as well. But basically you have what looks like a little black handkerchief that you can unfold, and it makes a big hole in the ground. Similar to cartoons, there's kind of a thing similar to it in Roger Rabbit. But basically you use an action to unfold this big portable hole onto a flat surface, a solid surface rather. So this could in theory be on a wall or on the floor. It is 10 feet deep. Cylindrical space within the hole exists on a different plane, so if you put anything in there, it's not technically on the same plane as you, in case that matters for the purposes of different things. Any creature inside an open portable hole can exit the hole by climbing out of it. And you can use an action to close the portable hole by taking hold of the edges and basically folding it back up like a big sheet. Folding the cloth closes the hole. Any creatures or objects within remain in the extra dimensional space. It weighs nothing, or next to nothing. If a creature is inside, they can try to break out of it with a DC 10 strength check, and they appear within 5 feet, and a breathing creature within the portable hole can survive for 10 minutes, after which time they begin to suffocate. And then there's always everybody's favorite move, placing a portable hole inside another extra dimensional space, like a bag of holding or a handy haversack. Destroys both and tears a gate into the astral plane and basically sucks people into the astral plane. So yeah, it's also was used very heavily by Jarlaxle in the Drizzt novels. He was a big fan of those, though his portable holes were linked to other portable holes, so he could like throw a hole and run through this one and come out over here. That was cool. I like portable holes. I've given them out to my players in certain games, and they seem to really like it. I'm a fan of like the Heward's Handy Haversack or the Bag of Holding, me personally, but portable holes probably actually better just because the amount of stuff that you can store in it. Also, if you fill it with water, you can just have like a portable pool instead of a portable hole. 48 of you, I should have said at the start, 48 of you voted for the portable hole. Number 8. 52 of you went with the Alchemy Jug. People just like kooky, weird magic items, so I get it. It's an uncommon magic item, and yeah, it basically produces liquids from one of the many corks on it, right? It appears to be able to hold about a gallon of liquid, weighs about 12 pounds. You get an action to uncork it, name a liquid from the list below, and it will produce that. Afterwards, you can uncork the jug as an action to pour that liquid out, excuse me, up to 2 gallons per minute. The maximum amount of liquid the jug can produce depends on the liquid that you named. Once it starts producing a liquid, it can't produce a different one or more than one that has reached its maximum until the next dawn. So we can see here you can do 8 ounces of acid, ½ ounce of basic poison, 4 gallons of beer, a gallon of honey, everybody's favorite, 2 gallons of mayonnaise, a quart of oil, 2 gallons of vinegar, 8 gallons of fresh water, 12 gallons of salt water, or 1 gallon of wine. So I don't know, people like this. I'm sure everybody's come up with interesting situations where you use the oil to light a fire. Everybody knows that the mayonnaise is always one that people seem to really like. I know it was used in campaign 1 of Critical Role, but it was just like a weird one. And I think I remember hearing something about the designers. They said like, we have to keep mayonnaise because that was in one of the old edition versions of it. So let's have it create 2 gallons of mayonnaise. So I don't know. I don't love the Alchemy Jug. I've found them. I've given them out. I've gotten them in games, but usually it's one of the first things I try to parlay or sell away. But 52 of you said it's worth making it on this list. Number 7. The Flame Tongue. Now here is a magic item that I can get behind. 60 of you voted for the Flame Tongue. And we went through and sorted it out, so it was not specific to a type of specific sword, so just the Flame Tongue in general. For those of you who don't know, it's a rare magic item that requires attunement, and you could basically ignite this blade as a bonus action, causing it to shed, which I didn't realize, it's 40 feet of bright light. That's a lot of light. And 40 feet of dim light beyond that, and while it is ablaze, you can deal an extra 2d6 damage to a target if you hit them. And lasts until you speak a bonus action to shut it off or sheath it. And then obviously here's the list of weapons it could be. Any sword, greatsword, longsword, rapier, scimitar, or short sword. I actually have one of these in a rapier form on my character in my evil campaign, which coincidentally I'm actually playing tonight, streaming on my Twitch channel. There's a link in the description if you'd like to come out and watch it, or just see me get to be a player and also be evil at the same time. So I have a love for the Flame Tongue. I also really like the Flame Tongue for the purposes of reskinning it, whether you make a lightning tongue or something, right? And like it's an axe that has lightning on it, but just you can still use the Flame Tongue base to alter and adjust to provide different weapons and make things a little bit more unique. A thunder hammer, right? Something like that. You can do that. It's pretty easy switch to do. Also the art just looks really cool. It's just a sword on fire. It's kind of got even like flame-like themes on the hilt of the sword or the handle here. Changing the color of the flame when someone gets it, right? Making it evolve blue flames or purple flames or green flame. Also great options just to make things a little bit more unique. It turns out my character actually has gold flames, which I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, I love the Flame Tongue. And again, this is a pretty big jump, right? 52 for the Alchemy Jug and then 60 for the Flame Tongue. So we're moving up in the list here. I love the Flame Tongue. I just wish that we didn't have so many magic items that were only swords. There was, I think, at one point it was a Rotted Away or a change for Adventures League. You could make any weapon a Flame Tongue. There was like a certain quest you could go on to make anything into a Flame Tongue. And then they fixed that and made it so that it had to be just swords. unfortunately.
Number 6.
Well, what all of you seem to think I love the most, the winged boots. No, I don't love winged boots. I've actually never owned a pair in any of my games, and I don't think I've ever given any out. I just recognize that flight equal to your walking speed for an extended period of time is very useful in a lot of D&D combat scenarios, especially if you're in early levels and people only have like ranged attacks and don't have crazy spells and stuff. Being able to just fly away from them can be a huge benefit to you, especially if you're using something like a longbow. 68 of you voted for the winged boots, and I can see why, right? Access is an uncommon magic item, so if your DM's a stickler for the rarity system on what's rare and uncommon, this should be relatively easy to obtain over some other items. It's equal to your walking speed, so if you have some way to improve that, whether through racial feats or racial abilities or class features, and you can fly for up to 4 hours total, and unless you're doing some really long distance flying for overland travel, 4 hours will probably get you through almost any regular day. Even with you flying, combats don't last that long, but you have to just spend them in a 1 minute period at a time, and then you slowly fall to. You don't actually, if you run out of time, you just descend. You don't fall to your death, and it gets 2 hours of flying back for every 12 hours they aren't in use. I really like the wing boots. Maybe I should use them more or find characters to use them. It hurts that it's attunement, but I get why.
Number 5.
Who doesn't want a D&D lightsaber, right? 74 of you suggested the Sunblade, and yeah, I fully get this. I have a character that I play in my Wednesday game, which I do stream on Twitch. He's a blade singer. He is basically a Jedi, and his weapon of choice is a Sunblade. So the Sunblade's a little bit unique. It also, once again, happens to be a sword, to my point before, where we mostly just get magic swords. It is a long sword. It does require attunement, and it basically just looks like this hilt normally until you activate it with or without lightsaber sounds, and a blade made out of sunlight shoots out of it. It also, while the blade exists, it has the finesse property, so that allows you to use it if you're primarily a dexterity-based attacker. If you have proficiency with short swords or long swords, you're proficient with the Sunblade. It has a +2 to attack and damage rolls, and when you hit an undead with it, they take an extra d8 radiant damage, so just free damage all around. It also illuminates bright light in a 15-foot radius, dim light in another 15 feet. This is sunlight, so creatures that have sunlight sensitivity or drow or vampires or whatnot, they will be affected by this. And while the blade persists, you can use an action to reduce or extend the brightness of this, coming all the way down to just 5 feet of bright light and dim light out to 30 feet of bright light and dim light. 30 feet of bright light in a situation where you're dealing with people with sunlight sensitivity or vampires, you will do very well with a Sunblade. As someone who's done that, I can attest to that personally. It's not even really it's a nitpick at this point. I love the Sunblade. It's rare too, right? It's a +2 weapon. It does other cool stuff. I love it. I wouldn't really change it. I just personally, as someone who's wielded one for 30 plus sessions at this point, I really wish it also did an extra d8 to fiends. I don't know why. I feel like it should do that. Undead don't have any specific vulnerabilities really to radiant damage like they used to in older editions. They just take radiant damage as normal. And a Paladin's Smite does extra damage to fiends and to undead. So in my head, that makes sense for the Sunblade to also do extra damage to fiends. I also happen to be playing a game where we're dealing with a lot of demons, so I would really love if that was the case. But hey, it is what it is. It's a lightsaber. Everybody loves lightsabers. Make it a fun color rather than just the color of the sun. Still counts as sunlight, but make it orange or purple or green.
Number 4.
87 of you apparently like to ruin campaigns because you picked the deck of many things as this legendary item. I don't think this legendary item needs any introduction. It is a potential campaign-ending deck full of several different cards, and each card can provide some sort of weird function, something super useful, or something completely terrible. You draw a card, any card, let's see, it has a couple things, but you must declare how many cards you're going to draw, then you draw them randomly. Any cards in excess of this number have no effect, otherwise as soon as you draw a card from the deck, its magic takes effect. You must draw each card no more than 1 hour after the previous draw. If you fail to draw the chosen number, the remaining number of cards fly from the deck on their own and take effect all at once, which could be really bad. So you pick, there's a couple different options here, and it shows you what you can do if you're doing it with a deck of playing cards, or maybe if you're doing tarot cards, and then they each do something different. Then I'm not going to go through every single option, but they could be something like swapping your alignment around. If you defeat the next monster, you immediately level up. Everybody's favorite, you get trapped in suspended animation, while basically you remain imprisoned until you're found and removed from a sphere, so you're basically trapped somewhere. It's just straight up negative to your saving throws. Then there's big world-changing things like the Fates card, right? Where basically reality's fabric unravels and you can avoid or erase an event as if it never happened. And the fabric of reality rewrites itself to be the least intrusive way to do so. So, accidentally screw something up and unleash a big bad in your campaign that you weren't supposed to? Well, if you find a Fates card, you might be able to undo that, and then everything will turn back to normal. We actually just saw Fates, or a Deck of Many Things card appear in my Wednesday night game. Our Warlock drew one and got basically the one where you get to level up, essentially. You gain 50,000 experience, and you get a magic item of your choice. And the DM decided that that was enough to level her up, so the whole party is level 11, but she is level 12. I have a lot of fun with Deck of Many Things. I like using Decks of Many Things during charity live streams, extra life events, things like that, where people can donate to add in the effect of a Deck of Many Things appearing, and each player must draw a singular card or more if they so choose, and then that always leads to fun times, and all the donations go to a good cause. I haven't done one of those in a while, but I'm kind of getting that itch to run along a crazy one-shot again, so we'll see. But yeah, I understand it's a legendary magic item. It's legendary amongst Dungeons & Dragons. It's a great way to end a campaign or build a whole campaign around it, depending on how you go about it. But that, I guess, is why 87 of you voted for the Deck of Many Things.
Number 3.
The Ring of Spell Storing only beat out the Deck of Many Things by 3 votes, coming in with 90. This rare looks like a sling ring from Doctor Strange here. This is super useful for any spellcaster or even to a non-spellcaster because it can store up to 5 levels worth of rings. 5 levels worth of spells within the ring. And then anybody that has the capabilities of casting slotted magic, spell of 1st through 5th level, can touch the ring and cast it into it. It has no effect other than being stored in the ring, and whoever is wearing and attuned to the ring can use whatever it takes to cast it to expel that spell from the ring, right? If you cast a bonus action spell into the ring, it takes a bonus action to activate it, and it uses the ability scores and casting abilities of the person putting it into the ring. So you could be a barbarian and not have access to any kinds of magic and have a spell storing ring, and then somebody else in your party can fill it with spells that would be of use to you in some way. It's a great way to get, like, if someone's got extra healing spells and they dump it in there, it can be a great way to get an extra healer or a pseudo healer in the party that way. It's also really great for spellcasters if they have a lot of spells that they use consistently, like shield, for example. If you use shield all the time, it's not a bad idea to have 5 spell slots worth of shield in this ring. So for all intents and purposes, it's 5 free shield spells that you could utilize. That's a nice one because if somebody else were to cast shield into the ring, shield does not use any ability scores. It's just a +5 to armor class. Doesn't matter how good their spellcasting ability is or how bad yours is, or vice versa. Shield is still shield. And yeah, otherwise it's treated as your spell. It uses the person who casts its abilities. And then once a spell is cast, it has been removed from the ring, and then new spells can be funneled into it. I like spell storing rings a lot. I also like making things that aren't rings spell storing items, switching it up, making it a necklace, making it a suit of armor, making it a weapon, just to give some extra flavor of things. I think that that's fun. But all in all, it's a great magic item. I understand why it's number 3 on this list for sure. It has, again, just pretty much unlimited uses. If you can find a spellcaster, whether even you find a random one that you pay to cast a spell into it, or you or your party are able to, no one's going to be upset to see a ring of spell storing kicking around.
Number 2.
Just as a frame of reference, the Ring of Spell Storing had 90 votes. The Immovable Rod has 131 votes. This uncommon item looks really cool with 2 horses on it, and basically you push a button on one end, and when you do so, the rod is magically fixed in place. If I were to like take this rod, well, you can't even see that. Take this pen, and this was the rod of movable parts, or movable rod rather, or movable parts. Geez, click this button, and then I would like let go, and it would just, well, obviously we live in the real world, but it would just float and suspend there. So I could use this to maybe if there's big castle double doors, I could shut the doors and click it, and it would stay there immovable behind the doors. There's always the ever-present, have 2 of them, and you can basically click and make like an overhand ladder. Click this one, it lets go, click it up here, now it's locked in place, let this one go, now it's locked in place, and then you can climb up without actually having a ladder, and you could climb up in a vertical, completely vertical space. But yeah, it doesn't move, and it can defy gravity unless someone presses the button. It can hold up to 8,000 pounds worth of weight. And a creature can use an action to make a DC 30 strength check to try to move the rod up to 10 feet. So even if you get a DC 30, you can only push this immovable rod 10 feet. So, you know, want to lock your doors to keep your house safe, just put a couple of movable rods in between the double doors. People can't push them open. It's a great retention tool if you're tracking someone down and you want to keep them in one place, right? You trip them to the ground, put the movable rod like right on while they're laying prone on the ground up under their chin. Now they can't get up, they're pinned to the ground, they can't move unless they have teleportation magic or some other means, or possibly, you know, if they can just reach up and push the button to undo it. But, you know, options, you could bind someone's hands behind their back and then drop them to the ground and hold them in place with the immovable rod or something like that. There's options. There's a lot of cool things you can do. I'd love to hear your favorite immovable rod story in the description down below. The comments, man, I am off today. I'll put stuff in the description. You put your stuff in the comments. Number 1. Probably surprising no one, number 1 on the viewer-defined magic item top 10 list is the Bag of Holding. This came in with a staggering 211 votes. As a reminder, the Immovable Rod had 131 votes. The Bag of Holding has 211, so by and far the clear winner. And I don't really think I need to explain what a Bag of Holding is. It's an extra dimensional space. It can look like the satchel or something else. You can put stuff in it. You can pull stuff out of it. It weighs 15 pounds regardless of the contents, and it can hold up to 500 pounds. Let's see. If the bag's turned upside down, the contents spill forth. Creatures can only reach into the Bag of Holding and draw from it if they know something's in there. So that's usually like, that may be a good way to divert the bad guy, but if they know it's a Bag of Holding, they can just turn it upside down and all of your stuff will fall out. Breathing creatures can survive, but they only have 10 divided by the number of creatures within the bag for with minimum of 1 minute before they start to suffocate. So one person can be in there for 10 minutes. And then obviously if you place it inside of another extra dimensional space, it causes that tear to the astral plane. But if you're within 10 feet of it, you get sucked to the astral plane, no saving throw. So also a potential way, combining this with the portable hole, to immediately take out an enemy or a boss, and can probably really, really argue your DM in the process. So there you go, folks. That is the top 10 viewer-defined magic items. We might do another version of this in the future. We might do some sort of thing where we pick classes, right? Rank me your top 12 or top 13 D&D classes or something like that. I don't know. I have to figure it out. But this was a fun little exercise. I enjoyed this. And I enjoyed seeing what everybody had said. Just as a frame of reference, right below the Cloak of Displacement, Bag of Tricks and Pearl of Power were tied for number 11. So I saw a lot of things varying from very specific artifacts to obviously common. Cloak of Billowing was super high up on this list as well. I think that was like number 14. But anyway, yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I still have my giveaway going on for Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. It's the regular edition cover as well as the special edition cover. They are both going to be giving away. I'm actually giving away 2 copies of this guy, as well as one of the Wilderness Screen DM kits. There is a link in the description down below if you would like to go ahead and enter said giveaway. Also, it ends next week, basically a little less than a week from today. So if you want to get in on it, go ahead. It's also open to international folks. So if you want to enter, I will take that hit personally to ship it out to you. Also, I said it in my earlier video, but if you entered into the giveaway, the last one, the 50K subscribers, or the Curse of Strahd giveaway, I have sent emails to all the winners. If I don't hear back from the winners tomorrow night by 11:59 p.m. Eastern, I will be contacting new winners. So if you are a winner, check your email from something from nerdimmersion@gmail.com. If not, hope somebody else doesn't claim their prize, and maybe you'll be able to get it. Yeah, that's it. Next week or the following week, we're going to start having some interesting Holloway themed content. Holloway? Jeez, dude, what is going on today? Holiday themed content. I have some woodworking projects that are really, really good for DIYers, but as well as folks who don't really have any woodworking experience, to make cool wooden, real crafted items that you can give out to the RPG player in your life for the holiday season, or just make it and keep it for yourself if you want to do that. I'm also going to be doing a giveaway. I'll be making these things and then giving them away. So if you'd like to win one, there'll be another giveaway for the holidays. I'm also going to be doing, I think, a couple buying guides kind of a thing. I got some sponsored content coming out in the near future, but I may be doing maybe I'll do like a top 10 gifts for the gamer in your life kind of a thing. I don't know. We'll see. Let me know. You know what? How about that too? If there's something you want to see, obviously I'm still going to finish up all the Tasha's Cauldron of Everything stuff so we can get that all out there and put that to bed and get back to regularly scheduled Nerd Immersion content. But when we get past Tasha's, is there anything you want to see specifically? My patrons on Patreon do get kind of first shot at what I should and should not do as far as voting for top 10s and other stuff like that. But feel free to leave thoughts in the comments down below and things you'd like to see. I'll add them to my ever-growing list of video topics to pull from in the future. Thank you all so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you at the next Tasha's Cauldron of Everything video, or tonight over on Twitch when I stream my Evil campaign. By the way, those are all available for you to watch on my second channel, Nerd Immersion Plays. There's a link for that in the description too.